I love JRPGs. It's one of my favorite genres ever. Right here is not only just my favorite JRPGs, but some of my favorite video games, period. Oh, I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud because they're all Atlus RPGs. I bet, let's change that then. So when looking at new JRPGs from different series, I came across two. Final Fantasy 13 and Tales of Berseria. I end up choosing Final Fantasy 13 because not playing a Final Fantasy game and claiming to be a JRPG fan seems criminal. It's probably top 10 if not 5 of the most well-known series of all time. So just by virtue of popularity, I have to give one of these games a try. 13 is one of those polarizing games you see a lot of discourse about online. It's either people glazing how amazing the game is, or it's just the worst thing imaginable. And from what I've seen of the game online, it looks amazing for something that came out during the PS3 era, and the music seems just as good. And the combat looks way different from what I'm used to when it comes to the Megami Tensei games. After all these years of playing turn-based games, looking at the ATB system, I'm just excited to try something new. And the camera work definitely sells it for me. All the battles look so cinematic and so beautiful, I just can't wait to play. And all the discourse about the game not being good is probably coming from diehard fans, especially in that time period. So for somebody like me, it's probably not even going to be that bad, and I might end up just liking the game, despite all the opinions online. But hey, there's only one way to find out. Let's go. The Tales series is one of the most well-known and longest-running JRPG series of all time. Out of all of them, Berseria caught my eye. The anime girl with the demon hand looks cool. Like, just look at this thing. This looks mad cool. Like, how could you not just want to pick this up out of all the other games? And instead of having turn-based combat, it's action-based. And on top of that, the discourse around the game is always positive. Like, everyone wanted to play this one out of all of them. So, like, maybe I just should. It's not that expensive on Steam. You can get it pretty cheap for the PS. Okay, it's stuck at 60 FPS, but it never crashed. That's already doing more than the bare minimum, so like, I guess I'll just play it. Because of my quote-unquote lacking scope of the genre, I'm looking at Berseria through the lens of somebody who has only played these games. This isn't just going to be me comparing this game to all the other games I've played, but I will be talking about what I like and dislike about Berseria as somebody who has only played Megaton games. Just a preference, I am not someone who heavily weighs a game's value by its story, but I can say this. Tales of Berseria's story is pretty good. It's nothing crazy, but it is an enjoyable story. If you're into anime, this story is very anime feeling. More than the Persona series at sometimes. But I attribute that to how long some of these cutscenes in Berseria are. It does take a while before you get an actual game plan for your ultimate goal, but during those first few hours you're meeting new people and party members, traveling to new places, and all around you're just getting a general taste of the game and its world. I think for me, the best part of the story are the characters you meet. All the party members and even supporting characters are super interesting and unique. And having a good set of characters is really what keeps me hooked into a game's story. But I don't care about them so much to the point where I don't mind them interrupting the gameplay every 10 minutes. This is my biggest problem with the way that Berseria presents its story. You will be in a dungeon and then boom, 2 minutes of banter. Sometimes it's mildly important, other times it has nothing to do with what's going on. And you might think it's just a mild issue, but no, they do it constantly. And at a certain point, I just can't carry anymore. Like, bro, just please stop talking. And then they have the nerve to give you the option of sparking up another conversation. No, you just talked. Can I just get through the dungeon without y'all interrupting me? Why are there even so many forced and important dialogue options that pause the gameplay when you could just have them be made optional? It wouldn't be that bad if I could still walk around and do fights while they're talking, but it actually just pauses the game. And it's not like they're just little quips, they're like a minute long minimum. My favorite thing about dungeon crawling in any of the Megaton games is that it just lets me do it. And then the cutscenes come at the end. If you're playing Persona, you usually get some in between, but like, the gameplay and the cutscenes are spread out. And this will tie back into my main issue with this game, in that it doesn't really respect the player's time. But even after all of that, I did enjoy the narrative. Like, at the end of the game, I was like, damn, alright, bravo, that was spectacular. Like, that was a good, decent story. Like, it was entertaining, it just wasn't heart-wrenching, heart-pulling. It didn't really have that necessary pull that makes you want to be like, oh bro, you have to witness this story, it's one of the greatest things ever. Which honestly is good enough for me. As long as the game story is entertaining, the characters are unique and funny, I'm set. But my favorite thing about the story is the main character. Velvet is amazing. Like, she is the best part about this game. And coming from a series of games where the protagonist is mainly silent just to be a self-insert, having this strong, vengeful female character is just refreshing. And if you don't actually play the game, she just might come across as overly edgy and angry, but like, that's just not really her character. Velvet has definitely solidified herself as one of my favorite video game characters, if not protagonists. Any plot point or twist that didn't have to do with Velvet just felt flat for me. Anything that did affect Velvet though was big and impactful, and it was probably my favorite parts about the story. And honestly, just because of her, I give Tales of Berseria's story an 8. As for the gameplay, it's solid. I don't hate it, but I wish there was more intention behind my actions. You can get by just by playing as the main character, never switching, not optimizing your skills for 90% of the game, and you'll be fine. Only for some bosses and later into the game where you're actually gonna have to sit down in the menus for more than 1 minute, choosing the right skills for you and your party. And because of that, the combat was just for most of the runtime. Once you successfully get a full party and their levels are above like level 30, random encounters just turn into a cluster of magic and enemies. Like, there'll be times where you're just looking at the gameplay and just be like, bruh, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna let them do what they want to do. And when it comes to more action-based JRPGs, this just cannot be the peak of it. I refuse to believe it in any sense. For me, turn-based games are all about strategy and decision making. This game has none of that. You can just spam the same moves over and over again until it stops working. Then what? You change up your moves a little bit and keep spamming those over and over again until they stop working. And honestly, it got to a point where I just rather play a turn-based game with more depth to its combat than play this. I can't say I hate the combat, but it definitely wasn't really doing much for me up until the end of the game. For the little time I actually was playing Final Fantasy 13, I thought the combat was pretty lackluster, but that's just because it was just the beginning of the game I got to experience. Even for that small time I was progressing, the combat was slowly getting better and better as I unlocked new options. Berseria just didn't have that until like 30 hours in. Once you're able to start chaining moves together and breaking your chains and doing all this with the soul system, it's actually pretty addictive. But until then, the combat is really not anything special. Not too long ago, I was playing the demo for Digimon Time Strangers, and I already liked that game's combat a lot more than Berseria, and I barely had a real taste of it. And it's not the fact that I just like turn-based combat more. Even the combat in the Rider Remaster game, which I've only played the demo for too, was a lot more engaging and appealing to me. And I think the reason why is because even though the demons act on their own, overall I still have control of everything going on in each battle. In Berseria, I'm just controlling the one character, and everyone else is just doing their own thing. It doesn't really matter if I'm paying attention to them or not. 80% of the time, I'm really not. Unless it's a boss fight, I don't pay attention to their health bars, I don't pay attention to the skills they're using, I just let them do whatever. And you can say that's just a me thing, but I really did try to take advantage of the combat fully. I've looked up videos, I've looked up tutorials, and yes, it did make the game more enjoyable. But not by that much. The average player is not going to be putting all this time and effort into trying to do combos with multiple characters. It just doesn't feel good, and it doesn't really add much. Like, you rarely ever get to the point where you're like, okay, let me actually try to switch up my characters to optimize the damage against the boss. It happens, but rarely. And when it does happen, I'm usually just using one other character and spamming the same magic spell over and over again. The game never really asks you to put in that extra effort into the combat. You could just ignore half the things in it. So if the bosses and mini bosses don't make you want to interact with the game fully, what makes you think the random encounters are going to make you do half of that? And that's why getting through some of these dungeons just wasn't fun. And when we're talking about the dungeons, they're just not that impressive at all. A lot of the quote-unquote puzzles could just be solved by going the other way and then coming back. Like, some of these puzzles are so brain dead, I wonder why they're even in the game. It feels like they're just trying to slow down your process just because. Like, look at these torches. There is absolutely no reason for these torches to be here other than to waste my time. And they do this so frequently, just by looking at the minimap you could tell when they're about to do it again. It just feels like the game is going out of its way to waste my time. And not in a very high effort way where it's like, oh, this dungeon's super time consuming. It's just like, take a little 15-second stroll to the left and then come back for me. Then you could play on. Like, what? And those kind of design decisions along with the slow running speed and the overall just makes the game so tedious to play sometimes. Like, I honestly feel like the game's runtime wouldn't even be that long if they just upped the running speed or removed some of these puzzles. And the devs end up realizing this because in the remaster of the game, which is super pointless, which I don't really need to get into. They updated the running speed so Velvet runs faster, which I mean, man, I wish I played that version of the game, but here we are. Because some of these dungeons are built in a way that are essentially just straight lines. It might not look like it on the minimap, but you are just running from point A to point B, and if they want to throw in a little corner side path, it's like 2 seconds. Towards the end of the game, there were many times where I look at a new room in a dungeon and just groan, because it's just one long path. And I know it's going to take me forever just to walk it for no reason. So if you want a game with good dungeons, this is not it. On the topic of this game wasting my time, the fast travel system is one of the worst I've ever seen in a video game. This shit just doesn't work half the time, it won't let you, and it doesn't even show you where you're traveling to. It's just a list of locations, and you're just supposed to remember where all these spots are apparently. I would be able to excuse something like this if the game came out 15 years ago, but it didn't. It's a PS4 title. It came out only 10 years ago. It's not that old. Those are the main and important things to go over about the game, but there's also a lot of little stuff that add nothing, which is like, okay. Like the cooking system and the ship hunting system don't really do much, honestly. And I did try to use them to their full extent, and I just feel like they didn't really add nothing to my experience. The little mini games you could find in the overworld towns are alright, but when it feels like the game is already wasting so much of your time, I really couldn't bring myself to play them for more than 15 minutes. Look, don't get me wrong, Tales of Berseria was a good game. There's a lot of little things that kind of eat away at you throughout the 50-hour runtime. 30 if you're playing the remaster for whatever reason. I mean, we know why, the running speed. But I can't fully recommend this game to anyone. Like, you would really just have to like JRPGs or be looking for something completely different for me to even recommend this. Even in that scenario, I don't think I would want to recommend Tales of Berseria. It's just that it's the only other type of JRPG I've played thus far. Yeah, that's my review for Tales of Berseria. I mean, nothing much else to say about it. If you like what you see, pick it up. Don't stop me from letting you try it, but just make sure you buy the remaster version. And that's it. Thank you for watching.